You know, people seldom go to the trouble of scratching the surface of things to find the inner truth.
You're here because you know something, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there.
Truth is stranger than lies. From deep inside the rabbit hole, here's your host, David Weiss.
And I'm Patricia Steer. Welcome to Truth is Stranger Than Lies. And David Weiss is here. How are you doing, David?
I'm doing fantastic today. We have a great guest.
Yes, we do. He's Russianvids, or we're going to call him RV, out of San Francisco. He's a YouTuber who's been in the YouTube conspiracy world for a while, covering topics including the flat earth, the Masons, vaccines, cancer, and then more topically recently involving the flat earth, Mark Dice, rapper B.O.B., Tila Tequila. We could go on and on. RV, I would say that your motto might be everything is a lie, if I'm correct.
Absolutely. I cover it all. You know, I maybe spread myself out a little bit thin by covering all topics, but that's what I do. I like to research everything, not just flat earth, not just 9/11, cover it all.
How did you get into it in the first place?
Well, like I've mentioned before in my videos, I've always been sort of awake, and I knew politicians were nothing but phonies and frauds at a very early age. I just didn't know how deep the deception went, and 9/11 really woke me up. And, after you're awake, like so many say, there's no going back to sleep.
Do you ever find yourself, you're looking into 9/11, Sandy Hook, Boston, and then you come across, another fraud like the Obama deception, Michael Obama. Do you ever feel like, oh my God, this can't be true, or this is going to discredit the work I've done already? How do you get by that?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, I always tell people, you need to wake up people slowly. You can't jump into topics that seem too crazy to the average person. You need to show them how the media is completely controlled, and you go on from there. If they don't understand that concept, they're not going to get how deep it goes.
Well, you and I, David, have talked about flat earth on probably every single show we've done here on Truth is Stranger Than Lies. But, in Russianvids, it talks about that often in his videos. But even stranger than that topic is the current topic of cloning that's come up recently. And then there's this topic involving celebrities like recently David Bowie, who die, who RVU claim are not dead and indeed are now somebody else. Those are the things that when I post them on my Facebook, people just, it's beyond flat earth to them. They're like, I'm defriending you. That's just too far.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's too hard for grasp to a lot of people. But understand, these so-called elite and the people behind the scenes, all they feed us is lies. They're not going to give us any truth. This is how they work. It's called lesser magic, deception. That's all they work on. They're not going to get, the bottom line is, when you see it on CNN, it's a lie. If they're going to cover 24/7, it's a lie. And people really die, but they want to create their own history. Everything is written according to how they want it. So it's like basically it's like watching a movie where someone dies in the movie, but they're still actually alive in real life. This is how TV news works. The same exact scenario.
What is the purpose of taking a celebrity like David Bowie or somebody else and faking their death? Where do they go? Why do they do it? How does it serve their agenda?
Well, I was going to make a video on Elvis and other celebrities like Tupac and Michael Jackson. Understand, after a while, these people, they've been in the public eye. After a while, they want to basically retire and have their own private life. And this is one way they can do it. Also, it just so happens, of course, David Bowie released his latest album. Just, right after that happened, he dies, and of course, no one knew about his supposed cancer, which makes no sense. I mean, this man had cancer. Go ahead.
Oh, well, yes, continue with that. But he was also secretly cremated. So
Yeah, that's what I was saying. In my video, I talked about, supposedly he secretly died, he was secretly cremated, but in reality, he's secretly still alive. Again, it's all about deception. This is what they're about. And I say it all the time. It sounds crazy to people, but these people that run this world are Satanists. And I showed it in many videos. You'll see Obama, you'll see Bush, you'll see Palin, you'll see Michelle Obama, all doing the devil horns with the left hand, sometimes the right hand, but they're all about signs and symbols.
Is everybody in high-powered positions a Satanist or corrupt or controlled?
Oh, no. Not everybody's a Satanist, but at the very top they are. And the people below them are just minions. Like, for example, everybody in the music industry in Hollywood, you're not going to make it unless you sell out and do what you're told. People think, for example, you get someone like Lady Gaga, before she was famous, she had her dark hair, had a completely different look. Once she signs a major deal, they construct her look, they give her the lyrics for her music. This is not her creation. All these big songs you see in the music industry, these are given to these artists, and they put it out there. They're not going to just let an artist, for example, like, say, a band like Guns N' Roses, oh, here's some song, we'll let you guys run with it. Make your own songs, and you release them. It doesn't work that way. They give them songs to sing. And it's all about, again, it's about propaganda. It's about the subconscious mind control, and that's, the music videos, the visuals. That's why MTV is so big with the elite. And VH1, it's all about the visuals, not just the lyrics, because people don't listen to lyrics. They just listen to the music and they see the visuals. If you ask them the lyrics for songs and you actually show them the lyrics, the actual lyrics, are like, I didn't know they were saying that, because they never really cared about that. It's just, it sounds good. That's what grasps people,
I'm sorry. You go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's like a snake. It's like a snake charmer. It's, the movements and everything. You get this snake in this trance type of thing. That's how they do with the public as well. The masses are basically brainwashed, and they don't realize what's taking place. They don't understand. You try to explain to them, and they still don't get it.
But what's the reason that these things are happening? What's it supposed to do to us? Create fear? Create sort of a state of numbness, or a combination?
Well, it's, depending what subject you're talking about. When it comes to music, when it comes to movies, movies are about particular programming. Music is about, music is all about getting to the endorphins. And music is like, how can I say it? It's like an addiction. You tell people, hey, watch out for this music. It's basically satanic. They're like, they'll be in rejection. No, they love that music. It's like they refuse to give it up because they love it so much. And even me, I'll listen to music. Wow, that sounds really good. But it's like candy. Like candy rots the teeth. Music rots the soul in ways. Not all music. I'm not saying every single song released is horrible or bad, but a lot of it, they have those subliminal messages. They're inside. And, with backmasking, even though people don't actually hear it, it enters the soul. They don't understand it, what's taking place, but it enters the soul.
It's like it's like an audio version of the movie They Live, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of things are taking place, and these people that run this world, they know how to control society, and they have it down well. I mean, there's nothing you can tell. A lot of these people, the masses, they just reject it. It's like this. You'll have a debate with someone on, say, for example, Facebook or Twitter, and you try to wake up someone. You're not going to do it in 1 hour or 1 day. For example, someone's 4 years old. You're not going to change them. You're not going to deprogram them in 1 hour. From 4 years of programming, 1 hour is not going to do it. It takes time. You got to chip away. And it's those people that are open-minded that'll say, okay, I'll listen to what you got to say. Those are the ones you can come across. But the ones that are like, nope, I don't care what you present, they're going to be in rejection. Those are the sheep. They are done. There's no hope for them.
I'm under the belief that, if you're aware of the deceptions like Sandy Hook, 9/11, or Boston, aware that we've been deceived, that it kind of frees you from that mind programming, from that transfer of fear energy, and it disconnects you from their agenda. My question is, if you're aware that, some music may have some satanic symbolism in it, does that disconnect you from it? Can you still listen to it and enjoy it? Because there's I like Linkin Park music, but there's definitely some weird stuff going on in there.
Yeah, and I like sci-fi. Can I still watch sci-fi without being programmed, even if I know there's no outer space because I believe in a flat Earth?
In both cases, yes. You can. I don't want to contradict myself by saying stay away from Hollywood, stay away from, the music. If you're fully awake and you know what's taking place, you know what's going on, and you know their method of what they're trying to do, you can watch a movie. Like I watched Star Wars Awakens, and I saw all the programming they're trying to accomplish in the movie. So you can sit back, even though I didn't enjoy the movie, it's another story. But for the most part, if you know what's taking place, it won't work against you. It's like this. If someone being hypnotized, it's people that get hypnotized, they allow themselves to be hypnotized. But if you fight it off, you can resist it. It's the same principle.
It's like when somebody is lying to you. If you know they're lying to you, the lie doesn't affect you.
Exactly.
Awareness is the key.
So
we're going to come back. We're going to take a break and come back, RV, in just a couple of moments, and we can talk a little bit about some of the other things that we talked about pre-show pertaining to the fact that we have a short attention span, and there's so many things that we've been programmed with that are horrible things that are going to happen, and then those things don't happen and we forget about them, and life goes on, and then they bring up something else to program us with. So that's coming in a couple of moments as Russianvids of YouTube joins us. David Weiss and I will return on Truth Stranger Than Lies.
We still have 2 more minutes.
Really? Oh, I got the hand sign you gave me,
okay.
Ron.
We can roll with it.
All right. Well, David, then, what would you...
I'd like to touch on a subject that normally derails anybody, which is the Michael and Michelle, or Barry and I don't know what to call them anymore, and Michael.
Barry Davis. It's really Barry Davis.
Yeah, so we don't know anything about our president. His records are sealed, but he wants to, us to have background checks for guns. And he continues to make the mistake of calling his wife Michael. Want to touch on that?
Yes. Absolutely. The bottom line is this. This is when I talk about the Bible. I believe Obama's Antichrist. People can disagree. He could be a clever decoy. But the bottom line, it states in the Bible that the Antichrist will not have desire for women. So how are you going to have a president who's the future Antichrist, get in the White House and be single? Of course he's going to have, if he's a homosexual, he's going to have a husband. He's going to be basically in drag, or a transvestite, whatever you want to call it.
And what about their 2 daughters?
They were adopted. They're not real because Michael cannot give birth, of course. So, not going to happen. Obama, basically, they're the first gay couple in the White House because Michelle is a man who can't give birth to 2 females, to 2 daughters.
Well, some people have seen pictures of Michelle/Michael with a genital bulge that really is suspect. And some say it's Photoshop, but many do say it's real. I do want to, when we come back, talk about what I had wanted to talk about before when I thought we were going to a break. But I also want to discuss Alex Jones/Bill Hicks, another subject you touch on. And we'll do that in just a couple of moments. This is Truth is Stranger Than Lies, and this time we really are going for a break. It's David Weiss, Russianvids from YouTube, and I'm Patricia Steer on TalkNetwork.com. Thanks for coming back on Truth is Stranger Than Lies. I'm Patricia Steer. David Weiss is here. Our guest is YouTuber Russianvids. We call him RV. We're going to, in this segment, try to pack in as much action as possible. We were talking about Obama before we went to the break, and I know, RV, you've got more to say about our president.
Yes. The deception runs deep. A lot of people, like I've mentioned in videos, the debate over the birth certificate, when people need to understand one thing. If they're going to bring a debate out in the mainstream, such as the birth certificate, if they really wanted to cover this up, they wouldn't even put it out there. You guys okay?
Oh, yeah, we're okay. Sorry, we were making hand signals to each other. And instead of doing that, I'll just say it straightforward. Could you get closer to your mic, David?
Sorry about that.
Okay, good. It seems like you were faint. No, but continue going on. Sorry. It's, live show. What can you do? No worries at all.
Yeah, like I said, they want people to debate non-topics, and it's pulling people away from the actual truth. Like the whole thing about Barack Obama's father, who's supposedly born in Kenya, when his real father, as I demonstrated in many videos in the past, on my old channel as well, that his actual father is Frank Marshall Davis, who is from Hawaii, who Obama mentioned during, live TV. He goes, "Oh, my father, he served in World War II." Frank Marshall Davis was supposedly born, Barack Obama's father, was supposedly born in 1939. That would lead to his dad being 9 years old during World War II. It makes no sense. But if you look at Frank Marshall Davis, his features, he's from Hawaii, he's a communist. Barack Obama mentions him in his book many times as his mentor when he's actually his dad. So all they throw out is disinfo. If all they feed us is lies, the general public's never going to find out the truth. And this is how they do it. This is their method of causing, creating these false debates that have nothing to do with the real truth. And that's how they do it. Same thing, like I said, with the moon landing. The moon landing, the whole debate over that, if they land the moon or not, it's really not a debate. The whole purpose of supposedly going to the moon, which they never did, was to show that we live on a ball, which is false, the ball Earth. That's what the whole moon landing deception was about. Not going to the moon. It was about showing that we live on a ball, which was fake, of course.
People say, though, I know they say it to you, David, they say it to me, and RV, I'm sure they say it to you. Do you think anything is real? You say everything is fake.
Well, the bottom line is, this is their disinformation program to keep us. This is their method of control, the top of the pyramid. That's why they're called the so-called Illuminati or the enlightened ones. We call them the Jews, the Zionists, whatever you want to call them. To me, it's just a title. Names mean nothing. I just call them the so-called elite, not to confuse with names. They want to keep us all dumbed down, feeding us basically lies, and we're trying to figure out lies. It's like if you're a detective and all your witnesses give you false information. Good luck finding out the actual truth and solving the case. You're not going to do it. That's why all they give us is lies. These false debates, again, with the moon landing, with Obama's dad, who looks nothing like him. If you look at Frank Marshall Davis, it's a dead-on match. That's how they do it.
William Casey, ex-CIA director, once said, we'll know our job's complete when everything the American people believe is a lie. And, I thought that's a bit aggressive to, say that, but everything is a lie. I get that all of the time, everything can't be a lie, therefore nothing's a lie. And that's people's mentality. People don't want to face the truth because it's emotionally painful.
What about Alex Jones and Bill Hicks? That's one, RV, that you're famous for talking about, and I know you probably get a lot of blowback on that one, but I've seen pictures, and it's pretty darn compelling. Indeed, if it's true, what's the purpose?
Well, the deception goes really deep with that. As I mentioned, my previous video with Alex Jones, he was the original Alex Jones, who was an agent as well. He was replaced. Why? I don't know. All I do is work with evidence that I can see. So people ask me, in my last video where I demonstrate Alex Jones was replaced with Bill Hicks, the real Alex Jones. For some reason, they had an agent named Alex Jones. He was a young Texan, as I showed in the previous video, with no gaps in his front teeth. And for whatever reasons, they replaced him with Bill Hicks. And why? That's another question. But you can obviously see the teeth, they don't match. The moles, they match with Bill Hicks and Alex Jones. And I understand, too, I don't really get into it too much, but Bill Hicks obviously had cosmetic surgery to look like the current, Alex Jones that he is. People say, people just don't get it when they say, well, he sounds nothing like Bill Hicks. Of course, he's not going to come on there with this, with the actual, Bill Hicks character voice. He's going to disguise his voice. You hear him go, oh, this is Alex Jones. You hear that voice. It's completely fake. So, to me, it's people can't grasp it when they say, well, Bill Hicks was funny and Alex Jones is not. They don't understand. These are two characters. They're playing roles on TV. Here's an example, not to get off topic, but with wrestling. There's a very famous wrestling announcer. His name is Bobby Heenan. He's a very famous manager and announcer. And when you hear him on TV, I met him in person. He sounds nothing like his TV voice. This is how they do it, too. So, bottom line is this. I need to get into this. Ted Turner, of course, with Time Warner. I made the connection with Alex Jones and Time Warner with Mike Hansen getting, basically talking to the police. And Mike Hansen showing his ID card, and it says Time Warner, and the cop reads it out. So, how obvious can it be? But the bottom line is, it's too crazy. The crazier something is, the harder it is for people to believe, and they just can't go there. That's why everything we're told is a lie. It's just, like I said before, if everything is A, but we're told it's Z, no one can go all the way from Z back to A. It's just too far. That's why everything is so extreme. That's why they work on opposites. Everything's on opposites.
There's so much stuff going on with the WWE on many levels. You just mentioned this, and then there's that famous scene where they talk about bringing down the Twin Towers prior to 9/11. Do you remember that?
Yes, I covered that. I uploaded that. And see, these people understand. Oh, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, they knew 9/11 was going to take place. No, they are just actors. They're given scripts and they read out, and they have no idea what, they're just told what to say. They're just playing around. And while Macho Man is speaking, he's wearing dual lightning bolts. So their wardrobes, everything is constructed for them.
And they're talking about destroying the Twin Towers and bringing them crumbling down.
Yes.
Again, is that the purpose of that, to implant the idea of the towers crumbling down in the recesses of your brain? So when the towers do explode or whatever it is they did, that your brain is looking for pieces of information, and it says, "Oh, the tower is crumbling down," and puts it together like building blocks.
Exactly. It's two things. It's revelation of the method, where they're going to tell you what they're going to do before they do it. It's part mockery, and it's part subconscious programming, where it's in the back of your mind. You don't even realize it. Millions and millions of people watch wrestling. That's why the so-called elite have a stranglehold over all of TV, every aspect, so they can control the mind. So, for example, if someone doesn't watch the news, they're watching wrestling. If someone isn't watching wrestling, they're watching movies. If someone doesn't watch movies, they listen to Hollywood. So they're going to get everybody. They're going to round up everybody. Another thing I'll mention, too, is there was a tag team called Demolition, and they also faced off in 1989 the Twin Towers, and Demolition always beat the Twin Towers. So this whole concept of the tag team called Demolition came out in 87. So we know 9/11 was planned out years and years ago, but this is all setting up. And also, too, I'm a big-time wrestling fan going years back. I used to attend many shows back in the Cow Palace, and I seen the Twin Towers in person. And I'm like, why would they call them the Twin Towers? They're not really that tall, per se. I mean, one guy's like about 6'3", the other guy's like 6'5". There's much taller wrestlers in history, but go ahead.
Another predictive programming piece was the original movie Lethal Weapon. And I uploaded a video on it where the two cops get out of their car and the camera goes right up to a parking sign that says 9-11 on it. And then as they're walking to the house has a chimney sticking up on it. And in the scene is a jumbo jet that's flying behind the house. And just as the nose gets in line with the chimney, the house explodes. And I remember when I saw that video, I was like, what did that plane have to do with the house exploding? And I just wrote it off as, there was a plane in the video, it just happened to be a plane there when they did that. And that, I actually remembered that. But then when I watched the video and made the video on my YouTube channel, DITRH, I noticed that there was another plane like 3 seconds later in the video. So it was put in there on purpose because planes don't travel that close together. Have you seen that?
I've seen the movie, but I never actually looked at that actual scene in the movie. Bottom line is everything they do, there's a reason. There's no deviating. Like, for example, when they made Back to the Future, some of the actors said they would not deviate. A lot of these actors talk about ad-libbing in movies, like Harrison Ford in Return of the Jedi. But with Back to the Future, movies like this, you cannot deviate from the script whatsoever because it's all pre-written. People didn't understand one thing, as I mentioned also. Everybody, that's involved in Hollywood, they're on the same page with the so-called elite. You're not going to just walk into Hollywood and say, I want a job as a director, producer, or a writer. These people are plants. Even I love the movie They Live, but John Carpenter is no hero. He's not like, oh, he's telling the truth. No, he's not. This is mockery. They're telling the truth. Oh, it's just a movie. It can't be true. Same with comedy with George Carlin. Oh, he's a hero. No, he's not. This is mockery. This is what it's all about.
We'll come back and discuss more of this here on Talk Network and Truth is Stranger Than Lies with Russianvids, RV out of San Francisco. That's his YouTube channel. And David Weiss and I both have YouTube channels, and mine's called Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. And I discuss some of the things that RV talks about and David talks about, plus Flat Earth. You've been a Flat Earther for how long, RV?
Well, it's been about maybe 8 months. I lost track. I didn't mark it down, but about 8 months.
All right. Well, about the same as David and I, give or take.
Yeah.
We'll come back and discuss that in a minute. We're going to come back and do another segment right here on Talk Network. and welcome back to Truth is Stranger Than Lies. It's Patricia Steer and David Weiss and Russianvids. That's his YouTube channel name. We call him RV, and we're talking about how everything is a lie. I know it sounds extreme, but continue following along with us. Boston bombing, something David and I talk about a lot, and David really, really has gotten into some great exposés. RV, what's your take on the Boston bombing?
Well, the Boston bombing, even before we get into that, we should set it up from the very beginning, with the laws being passed where basically, the media, they can basically lie to us with propaganda, and that's just shortly after that. That's when, basically the Aurora shooting happened. And this is all going to connect to Boston. When you had the Aurora shooting with the Batman shooting, they called it, and you had, during the showing of the Batman movie, they showed Sandy Hook. So you see the connection. I'm going to get into Sandy Hook and then Boston. But you see where it says Sandy Hook on the map. So what I'm getting at is all the hoaxes are connected. For example, even with Columbine, and after Columbine, they had an article about Harris, and he talked about how he wanted to crash planes into New York. So they're setting up your mind subconsciously. Each hoax, each site is connected. Now, getting back to Aurora with the Batman shooting, and they said Sandy Hook on the map. Now you had that's your Batman movie that was shown. Now let's go to Boston, where you had the supposed bomber. His name is Joker Tsarnaev. And Joker is a play on names. It's Joker Tsarnaev. Just like you had Adam Ward with the shooting. What's his name? What's her name? Allison Parker. And you had the cameraman. You had Allison Parker. You had Adam Ward. And you had the mix with, Burt Ward. With Batman. So it's all connected with basically the whole psychopath and the Joker. You have that Batman theme taking place, even with Paris.
The Bataclan. I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I covered that with this one supposed female who was attending the Bataclan, and she was making her way from, I believe it was it Sweden or Norway, and she was posting pictures of Batman, right before going to the Bataclan. But getting back to Boston, people need to understand is people try, like I said, people try to figure it out, where the Tsarnaev brothers, patsies. No, they are part of this whole stage. The whole thing is fabricated from start to finish. Everybody involved that you see on TV is part of it. So the Tsarnaev brothers are not just two people like, okay, we're going to fake a bombing and just grab two random people and make them part of this psyop. No, they are part of the psyop. Just look at the Rolling Stones cover with Tsarnaev, with Joker Tsarnaev. It looks totally like stage. It's just because it is. He's an actor. He's part of it. So basically, there's nothing to figure out. From the beginning to end, it's all mapped out. Who's going to be accused of it? It's just like a movie.
What I noticed is after the bombing happened, we never saw the Joker again. We heard stories about him. The only time we saw him, supposedly, when he was in a jail cell, and there was a camera in there and he flipped off the camera. But nobody knows where that was, when that was. That could have been recorded a year before the bombing. I mean, he had his trial. Did he get life or did he get executed? He got life, right? I don't know.
I believe, didn't they say he's going to get the death sentence?
Either way, we'll never get to see him again. Either if they get life, these guys are put in a maximum security prisons, no visitors, no parole, and they're nowhere,
One thing I want to mention, too, is look at the trial itself. All you get is cartoon drawings. There's no actual trial taking place because it's a hoax. It's a psyop. So there's no need to set it up.
PK Boston YouTube channel made a video showing all of the different pictures. Actually, it's the expose I did in Caravan to Midnight with PK, where we showed just from one day the drawings of the Joker. He had like 5 different hairstyles. So he must have a hairstylist in there with him, redoing his hair every day.
Yeah, I covered that on my old channel. I covered that. I said, I only need to cover that, the Unabomber and Eric Rudolph. A lot of these trials, they're going to have these cartoon drawings because there's no actual trial. It's different than the OJ case. That's whole other story, but they had that, the courtroom trial. Everybody involved were actors or currently actors, or, Johnny Cochran, who's now dead, but he was a Freemason. He talked about, being part of the fraternity, but everybody involved. I don't want to get into the OJ trial right now. Let's stick with
Well, the Kardashians are part of that whole thing as well.
Yes.
So
I want to say this. And we'll go there since you mentioned it, Patricia. Is you look at these people that get propped up in Hollywood, such as the Kardashians. You look at Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton's great-grandfather was Conrad Hilton, of course, of the Hilton Hotels. So, and Hilton itself, the name is 33 in numerology. Paris, the area code, the calling code in Paris is 33. So when you think about it, Paris is 33, Hilton is 33. O.J. Simpson, O.J. is orange juice. Orange is 33. Simpson, the last name, is 33. You look at Bill Clinton, whose original name was born Bill Blight. He changed his name to Clinton. Clinton is 33 in numerology. He was supposedly born in Hope, Arkansas, on the 33rd parallel. In his book, My Life, Bill Clinton, he said he was born 33 miles from the Texas border. Bill Gates is 33 in numerology. So, I mean, I keep going on and on. So, to make it in this world, and Ted Turner, another so-called bigwig with the so-called elite, if you have any occultic names, like Michael J. Fox as well, Fox is 666 in numerology. The reason they took out Eric Stoltz, when they were filming Back to the Future, the first one, they had Eric Stoltz in there. Then Michael J. Fox became available. They stopped the filming, I believe it was a quarter way in. Not exactly sure how much filming they did. They replaced Eric Stoltz with Michael J. Fox just because of the occultic name Fox. They're all about the occult. They're all about names with numbers. And so people, for example, if you have a 33 name, for example, you watch football, there's Chris Collinsworth, that's CC, that's 33. You'll see that all the time with the, for example, Christopher Columbus, the director. They love to promote, if your name, for example, there's 10 people, going for a position, and if you so happen to have an occultic name, or, say, for example, your first and last name is CC, or MM, as in, for example, like Marilyn Monroe, Mad Max, they love these occultic type names. And these people are going to be prompted. Of course, they're going to fabricate names like Chris Cornell of Soundgarden. That's not his real name, but they changed it to Chris Cornell. So you get the CC33. Just like CC Devil, his name is Bruce Johannesson. They changed it to CC DeVille. You get 33 Devil. So it's all about the occult.
They change their name on purpose to be aligned with the devil, or okay. And does that give them power?
They go out of their way to get that 33 because, of course, Christ was crucified at the age of 33. This is marketing. Look at Chris Cornell. He has that long hair, he has that beard, and he puts his arm out when he's on stage like he's being crucified. You'll see a lot of singers and a lot of people emulate this. People don't understand. The elite know, the so-called elite, I should say, they're not elite, the so-called elite, they know. It works like this. You got the so-called elite, and they got their minions and their puppets in the music industry. They're told to do certain things, like, for example, the ripped jeans. Moses said in the Bible to his sons, "Do not tear your clothes." So what do? They have this trend of having torn clothes, torn jeans. Do not let your hair grow unkept, long. This is why a lot of these rockers had the long hair. It's all messy. Because in the Bible, Moses told his sons to keep your hair nice and, kept. So there's, even the backslide. Sickness work on opposites. So they devised the backslide for a lot of these musicians, like, for example, Michael Jackson did the backslide. He's not the first one to do it. But the backslide is like backsliding. When you backslide, it's going against Christ. So they know all these millions of kids are going to emulate the backslide. So these kids, these people in society don't understand what's taking place. And they just don't, they don't devise these things out of nowhere. It's all, there's a backstory to everything they do. Everything they do, to their record albums, to, their for example, a movie poster, and, everything, like I said, the lyrics of the song. I'm telling you right now, the lyrics to the majority of these songs that are put out for these artists are created for them from people behind the scenes. And they might be, for example, like a guy like Lionel Richie, he might be high up in the totem pole, and he's been in the music industry for a long time. So he'll be like, for example, the head coordinator. We're going to make songs, this song for this artist and this song for that artist, but they're all creations. They're all creations for them.
You were mentioning you mentioned Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox and his role he played in that. Back to the Future was one of the most incredible predictive programming movies for 9/11. It's not just a couple little things in there. The entire movie, was about the Twin Towers and 9/11. If you remember the scene with Marty and the doctor setting up the DeLorean, they were at the Twin Pine Malls, and Arab terrorists came in, and attacked them while they were there. And then, the car took off and created an 11, and there was a big 9 sign next to it. I mean, that's just the beginning. It's mind-blowing.
There's one thing, David. I'm sorry, David. There's one thing I want to point out that people don't really touch upon is when Marty McFly is at the gas station.
Yep.
The price of the gas is $119. You reverse, of course, 9/11. Satanists work on opposites. The hide things in plain sight.
What about things that are in the media now? Are you kind of sniffing out any predictive programming for potential events that are headed our way in the future?
Absolutely. I've covered it, and this is one of the biggest movies that it's really flown under the radar, and I've covered it in videos. It's The Running Man. In the 2017 predictive programming with the economy crash, a police state. This is the opening scroll. It's mentioned about how there's a police state, how the media is controlled by the government. It's all there, and it's taking place in 2017. And interesting enough, in the movie, for those that haven't seen it, there's a scene where basically the character, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he is blamed for killing these innocent civilians. He was told, he's a helicopter pilot, a police helicopter pilot. He was ordered to kill off these protesters. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it. They're unarmed. And he disobeyed orders, and basically, they imprisoned him for it. He broke out, and the bottom line is they demonized him. They demonized him. And basically, they set up a scene at an airport where he supposedly, killed people in the airport. But it was just like it was taking place today with crisis actors. He didn't actually kill anybody. But they showed all these crisis actors all bloodied on the ground, just like they do today with Boston. They didn't show anything in Sandy Hook, but just like Boston.
All right, we're going to get into that a little bit more. I want to find out exactly what he thinks may happen in the future. It's Russianvids, our guest on Truth is Stranger Than Lies, and David Weiss and I will return in a couple moments on Talk Network.
Before we go, RV, the Holy Grail is to find a movie where you can actually see the dates. I mean, there was so many things that had 9/11 in it, Superman and the Rockefellers and Time Magazine. So, I've been looking at movies saying, what numbers am I seeing over and over? And I've come up with absolutely nothing so far. I was wondering if you can. If you come up with anything. But hang on. We are going to a bit break right now. Patricia's anxious to get to these breaks. But here we go. We'll be back with Truth is Stranger Than Lies.
It's our final segment of Truth is Stranger Than Lies with David Weiss and me, Patricia Steer. And maybe I should just go to a break right now because I've been doing that every time I'm a little early. Our guest is Russianvids, though we're calling him RV, but it's the Russianvids YouTube channel. He's got lots of great videos for you to see. Now, when we went to our break before, I was talking about 2016, what's coming, what is the predictive programming that we are seeing, and RV, what have you been noticing? What's going on?
Well, I made a video right after the new year, and like I stated in the video, I see a lot of big events taking place in 2016, right before the elections with Obama, that's going to take place at the end of the year. I believe, I'm sorry, not with Obama, with the new president, but I believe those elections are not going to take place. I believe Obama is going to stand. Some type of psyop or hoax is going to take place that's going to lead him to declare martial law. And, basically he's going to remain in as president. And this might be a little bit touchy, but I'm going to say it. I believe they're going to set up a fake assassination with him, and he's going to survive. And I believe, this is, I'm biblical. I said this many times where, the Antichrist is going to, he's going to perform false miracles. It says it in Revelation. He's going to perform false miracles. And I believe this false miracle is surviving the supposed assassination attempt. Understand, going back in time with Gabby Giffords in Arizona and her supposedly surviving that mortal wound to the head, and even Joe Biden said that she survived a mortal wound. So this is planting a seed in the mind that it's possible to survive a bullet wound to the head with a politician such as Gabby Giffords, now with Obama. And this is, like I said, you can take it with a grain of salt, because we do not know this as a fact. This is something I foresee potentially happening. So I believe he's going to be in power beyond, and some people speculate that, whatever takes place, he's either going to be president beyond the 8-year term limit, or eventually he'll be, going to the UN and lead that. But either way, I don't see him going away. I see him having, a face and staying there. I truly believe it's not the UN. I believe he's going to be president beyond the 8-year term limit.
And I don't believe that it's actually him that is, that he's the one with power. He's just the puppet for the power, puppeteers. Well,
let me say this. People need to understand these people that we see in the public eye. A lot of people talk about them as being puppets, but they are in the bloodline. Bush, Obama. Some even speculate that Clinton, how does he get it? He's not even in the bloodline. Some people said, this is just a rumor, that he's basically the son of David Rockefeller through a prostitute. I don't know. I don't know about that, but I've heard things like that. So there's some connection that allows someone that's not in the so-called bloodline to be in that position. So everybody knows about the bloodline. They're all connected. And people say, well, how does Obama fit in? Well, his mom, Ann Dunham, she is related to the Bush family, and even Obama said on BET that, he's cousins with Dick Cheney. He said it, on, live TV on BET. So it's no, and that's mockery. They're telling you we're all connected, and you people don't get it, And one thing I want to say is it's very important. And people, they're always looking for a hero. They're believing, Bernie Sanders or maybe one of these guys will be a hero. I covered this a long time ago when it wasn't popular about Ron Paul. I was making videos on Ron Paul being, basically just one of them. And people are, oh, no, he's legit. So you people don't get it. You don't understand it. To be in that position, you must be one of them. Simple as that. No one's going to be propelled in the spotlight unless you are intertwined. You're one of them. Your face is not going to be on TV. That includes MLK. That includes Nelson Mandela. That includes everybody. Even when it comes to Sandy Hook, when you had what's his name at the university, Tracy, was it Tracy? What's his name? Tracy Martin?
No, James Tracy.
James Tracy. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Yeah, James. He's part of the puppet show. They're not just going to pull someone out and understand this. They cannot take the chance of bringing a real truth speaker on TV and saying something that they don't expect they're going to be caught off guard. They need to make sure that it's a safe environment for them. So when a person speaks, they know what they're going to say before they say it. They're not going to be caught off guard.
So
it's dangerous for them.
That's interesting, but the way I look at it is James Tracy really wasn't on TV. He was making some waves, asking some questions. Anderson Cooper fried him, and I look at it as that was a message to anyone else that wants to speak up. I have a difference of opinion with you there, but we can continue on.
Let me say this. I'm not saying it's 100% fact, but in general, 99% of the time, this is what's going to happen. They're only going to have their people. If he never actually showed up in the studio or been interviewed, you might be right. If he actually never has been interviewed by CNN, Fox News, or any of these major networks, you have a point. If he's ever been interviewed...
He hasn't, though. He hasn't sat down. Never has any of the information that he has put up in his blog hit the mainstream media. The only thing that goes on the mainstream media is that this nutty professor, they always show a video capture of him where his eyes are bugging out or something, which you can get out of anybody. And they never talk about any of the proofs. They always talk about he's harassing these poor families that lost their children and the emotional story. Never, ever does any of the facts come out. So I think that maybe that one you haven't looked into enough, but there's so much deception. It's difficult to see it all.
Was he on Alex Jones' show?
I don't know, but I was.
I think he was.
Was he? Yeah, he probably was.
Yeah, I'm just telling you right now. All these people, for example, Pastor Manning, Ken Hovind, all these people that show up on Alex Jones' show, they're toast. They're done. I know people want to believe, I'm a legit person. I want to be on Alex Jones to get exposure, but The reality is you're not going to get on there unless you're part of that club.
What if somebody wanted to put you on the Alex Jones show? What if you really literally got a call tomorrow? You, with all your integrity, got the call and you could put your message out to a much wider audience. Would you go on, or would you feel it would ruin your credibility?
First off, the chances of that are zero. Beyond, it's not going to happen. No way. There's absolutely no chance. There's no chance of that. If I did, he'd be toast. He'd be done. That's simple. I'd fry him. So it wouldn't happen just for that reason. They see my videos. They actually, someone mentioned to me where they actually showed, part of my video footage from San Diego on the Alex Jones show. Before. This is on my previous channel. They didn't really mention me per name, but you can see my video with my logo and everything on the Alex Jones show, but they never mentioned me by name. But they've seen my stuff, so for sure.
Well, we were talking earlier about how everything pretty much is a lie. And I remember just being young and hearing about swine flu, and then that's disappeared. Bird flu, that's disappeared. Then Ebola came along. We were all going to die of Ebola. That disappeared. What's going on with all this, Harvey?
Yeah, I mean, going back, like I mentioned, before the show started, was look back to acid rain. What happened to acid rain? It was the big thing in the 80s, and that thing just disappeared into thin air. The ozone layer. People talk about the ozone layer. That was a big thing. Oh, get rid of your spray cans because you're destroying the ozone layer. All this is garbage. They move on from one fear tactic to another, just like global warming. Everything is a lie. They just had to lace it with global warming. The reason, PK covered this. The reason you're having this huge, these snowstorms in the East Coast is because the polar ice caps are melting. It's causing all this to take place. It's complete garbage. And people, they're like, the mess are like, well, why would they lie to us? This is where they get people. This is what I'm talking about. Why would they lie to us? This is their method of control, giving us nothing but lies. For example, the sinkhole stories. I covered this on my old channel. All the sinkhole stories were nothing but lies. It's just, a guy was supposedly sleeping in his bed, and a sinkhole happened under his bed. His whole bed went in the sinkhole. He went in the sinkhole. His brother tried going in the sinkhole to find him. He couldn't find him. You know what they did? They got a tractor and just buried the hole. And they never found the brother. It's completely ridiculous. But people will say, why would they lie? People don't get it. These are psychopaths at the wheel. They're not going to give us anything but lies. Some might not even be part of an agenda. But they're, like their father. Satan is the father of all lies. They're just emulating him. Nothing but lies. That's all they give us. And there might not be a reason. That's how they operate. It's crazy. I know. People can't grasp this. But that's what's taking place. Are there ever school shootings that are actually really a legitimately mentally insane person who goes in and kills kids? Well, I'll tell you right now, Columbine was a hoax. What other school shootings? I mean, all the recent ones, of course, like the ones in Oregon. What happened in Virginia Tech with supposedly 33 people dying. I forgot his name, the Asian student, supposedly killing 32 students, then killing himself. 33. That's all you need to know. Listen, when you look at a news story, you don't need to read the text or listen to anything they say. Just listen to the numbers. Look at the numbers. When you read a news article, look for the numbers. It's all about the occult. For example, real quick, like they have this one-way mission to Mars, Mars 1. And they said they're gonna select 33 Americans to make this trip to Mars. It's a complete joke. It's a hoax. You can't even get in outer space. I mean, can't get past the dome. That's another topic with the flat Earth. But, bottom line is just look for the numbers. It's always going to be there. And one number they throw out a lot is the number 29. Because, of course, you get the 9, you add the 2, you get 9/11. It's a huge number. A lot of the news stories people miss is that 2 and 9, the 29 for 9/11. What about looking for photo images and videos or photos? I try to look for those when I see a new event happening. Legit ones, not fake ones. It's a good way to also judge. Absolutely. I mean, you want to look at all the evidence, but for the most part, they're all about the numbers. I mean, definitely you got to show the images. Pictures say 1,000 words, like with Boston, all the faking that's taken place. That's been well exposed. Or Paris with hardly any pictures, just the same ones repeated. Where's all the funerals with the supposed Paris, terrorist attack? What about all the funerals? People don't talk about that. It's completely ridiculous. And that band, the Eagles of death metal. The Eagles of death metal. I covered that. Those guys are a bunch of clowns. They're laughing through the through the interview. It's a complete joke.
And now they've, been associated with the band U2, so their star has gone to the top because of what they do. I never heard of them before. Even when I listen to them, I'm like, that's not death metal. That's like pop music.
And one thing I want to mention too is one of their songs called San Bern. They mention going to San Bernardino.
Right.
So, like I said, all the hoaxes are connected. These are psychopaths, and they're going to leave hints for the next psyop, for the next hoax to take place.
I wish we could figure out what it is right now. And at the time of the recording of this show, which is January 25th, 2016, we haven't had one for a while. So I'm assuming we're going to have another psyop coming our way soon.
Very soon.
Too bad we're unable to predict what it is. So we'll be looking, and we'll be following your videos, RV. Anything that you've got coming up that we should be keeping an eye out for?
Yes, I want to mention really quick is the Super Bowl going to take place in Santa Clara, California.
10 seconds.
And
Oh, well, Santa Clara, California, Super Bowl, Russianvids. Check it out. He'll have videos coming soon. This is Patricia Steer, and that's David Weiss. That's Russianvids, and this has been on Talk Network, Truth is Stranger Than Lies.